Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military leaders. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the remarkable life of Nadir Shah, the 18th century Persian king who would shake the foundations of the Middle East and beyond with his conquests and strategic genius. Born in 1688 in the province of Khorasan, in what is now northeastern Iran, Nadir Shah's early life was marked by hardship, resilience, and a growing sense of ambition that would eventually propel him to greatness. To understand the formative years of this future military leader, it's essential to grasp the historical context of his time. The Safavid Empire, which had once been the dominant power in the region, was in decline, creating a power vacuum that various factions and warlords sought to fill. The Afghan Hotaki dynasty, for instance, had begun to make inroads into Persian territory, setting the stage for the conflicts that would shape Nadir Shah's early career. Nadir Shah was born into a humble family of Tartar origin, his father being a herdsman. Despite their modest means, Nadir's family valued education and ensured that he received a solid foundation in Islamic studies as well as the martial skills essential for survival in a tumultuous region. His education would have included lessons in mathematics, astronomy, and literature, providing him with a broad base of knowledge that served him well in his later campaigns. The Khorasan province, where Nadir Shah spent his childhood, is a land of stark beauty and harsh conditions. The vast deserts and rugged mountains of this region bred hardy people, adept at surviving in one of the world's most inhospitable environments. It was here, amidst the endless dunes and rocky outcrops, that Nadir Shah developed his exceptional horsemanship, archery skills, and tactical prowess, all of which would become hallmarks of his military genius. As a young man, Nadir Shah was deeply influenced by the stories of his ancestors and the history of the Turkic warriors who had once dominated Central Asia and the Middle East. These tales of conquest and leadership instilled in him a sense of destiny and ambition, driving him to seek out new challenges and test his mettle against the greatest powers of his time. By the early 1700s, Nadir Shah had begun to make a name for himself as a skilled warrior and leader, fighting in several local campaigns and distinguishing himself through his bravery and tactical genius. His encounters with various warlords and his experiences on the battlefields of Khorasan were crucial in shaping his military strategies and forging his reputation as a formidable commander. One of the pivotal moments in Nadir Shah's early life was his encounter with the Afghan warlord Mahmud Hotaki, an event that marked the beginning of a new chapter in his journey towards power. This meeting would set him on a path that would take him from the battlefields of Khorasan to the throne of Persia and eventually to the conquest of a vast portion of the known world. The lessons he learned, the alliances he formed, and the challenges he overcame during these formative years would all contribute to his ascent as one of history's most feared and respected military leaders. As Nadir Shah's reputation grew, so did his ambition. He began to set his sights on the Persian throne, then occupied by the Safavid dynasty, which was in decline. In 1726, he allied himself with Tahmasp II, a claimant to the Safavid throne, and together they launched a series of campaigns against the Afghan Hotaki dynasty, which had invaded Persian territory. Nadir Shah's military prowess and tactical genius were instrumental in these campaigns, earning him recognition and respect from his allies and adversaries alike. One of the pivotal moments in Nadir Shah's rise to power was his capture of the strategic fortress of Mashhad in 1727. This victory not only showcased his military abilities, but also demonstrated his capacity for strategic planning and leadership. The conquest of Mashhad marked a turning point in Nadir Shah's career, as it solidified his position as a major player in Persian politics and set him on the path to eventual dominance. In 1732, Nadir Shah deposed Tahmasp II and proclaimed himself Shah of Persia, marking the beginning of the Afsharid dynasty. This move was not merely a power grab, it was also a calculated step towards reunifying a fragmented Persia under strong leadership. Nadir Shah's vision for a unified and powerful Persian Empire drove his subsequent military campaigns, which would take him from the Caucasus to India, leaving a trail of conquests and reforms in his wake. Nadir Shah is perhaps best known for his military reforms, which transformed the Persian army into a disciplined, efficient, and highly effective fighting force. He introduced European-style artillery, reorganized the command structure, and implemented rigorous training regimens. These reforms enabled the Persian army to achieve a level of military prowess that had not been seen in centuries, making it capable of challenging and defeating the major powers of the time. The zenith of Nadir Shah's power came with his invasion of India in 1739. His campaign against the Mughal Empire resulted in one of the most spectacular victories in military history, as he defeated a vastly larger army at the Battle of Karnal and then sacked Delhi, bringing back immense wealth and prestige to Persia. This campaign not only underscored Nadir Shah's military genius, but also highlighted his strategic vision, as he sought to secure Persian borders, expand its influence, and amass the resources needed to consolidate his power. However, Nadir Shah's conquests and reforms were not without controversy. His campaigns were often marked by brutality and slaughter, earning him enemies both within and outside Persia. The constant warfare and heavy taxation necessary to fund his military adventures placed a significant burden on the population, leading to discontent and eventual rebellion against his rule. Despite these challenges, Nadir Shah's legacy as one of history's greatest military leaders remains unchallenged. His campaigns expanded the Persian Empire to its largest extent in centuries, and his reforms laid the groundwork for future generations of Persian leaders. Moreover, his impact on the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and beyond was profound, shaping the destinies of empires and nations for centuries to come. As Nadir Shah's empire reached its zenith, internal dissent and external pressures began to erode his power. The constant warfare and heavy taxation necessary to fund his military adventures had placed a significant burden on the population, leading to widespread discontent. Moreover, the brutality with which he suppressed rebellions and the perceived sacrilegious acts, such as the massacre of Sunni Muslims in the Caucasus, created deep-seated resentment among various ethnic and religious groups within the empire. One of the most significant challenges Nadir Shah faced was a series of rebellions that broke out across his vast empire. In 1741, a major revolt erupted in Mashhad, the same city where he had achieved one of his earliest and most significant victories. This rebellion, led by local leaders who resented Nadir Shah's centralizing policies and the economic hardships caused by his wars, was eventually put down with great brutality. However, it marked the beginning of a period of instability that would plague the empire until the end of Nadir Shah's reign. Nadir Shah also faced external threats, particularly from the Ottoman Empire, which had long been a rival of Persia. Despite his military prowess, Nadir Shah found himself challenged by the Ottomans in the Caucasus and Mesopotamia, leading to a series of costly and indecisive wars that further drained the empire's resources. The final years of Nadir Shah's life were marked by paranoia and violence, as he became increasingly suspicious of plots against him. He ordered the execution of many high-ranking officials and nobles on suspicion of treason, creating an atmosphere of fear within the court. This period of terror culminated in a series of bloody purges that weakened the empire from within. Tragically, Nadir Shah's life came to an end at the hands of his own soldiers. In June 1747, while on campaign against the Uzbeks in Khorasan, he was assassinated by a group of conspirators who were reportedly motivated by a combination of personal grievances and a desire to end the endless wars that had devastated the empire. The assassination marked the beginning of the end of the Afshari dynasty, as the empire fragmented into smaller kingdoms and principalities following Nadir Shah's death. Despite the tumultuous end to his reign, Nadir Shah's legacy as one of history's greatest military leaders remains. His campaigns expanded the Persian Empire to its largest extent in centuries, and his reforms laid the groundwork for future generations of Persian leaders. Moreover, his impact on the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and beyond was profound, shaping the destinies of empires and nations for centuries to come. As we reflect on Nadir Shah's life, it becomes clear that his story is a complex tapestry woven from threads of brilliance, brutality, ambition, and ultimately, tragedy. His reign serves as a reminder of the enduring power of military genius and strategic vision, but also of the corrosive effects of paranoia, violence, and unchecked ambition. In conclusion, Nadir Shah's life offers valuable lessons for historians, strategists, and anyone fascinated by the intricacies of power and the human condition. His legacy continues to captivate and inspire us today, a testament to the enduring impact of his remarkable story on the annals of history. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the life of Nadir Shah, one of the most fascinating figures in military history. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.